What else do you want to know?
What was your motivation for Breathe?
Are you guys okay with this? You can leave if you want. I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay. I feel terrible. I've gone on stage with pneumonia before and still managed to get through. Okay. Breathe. I don't usually tell, even in these stories, these are not the very closest version of what these are about for a couple reasons. One, because they're deeply about myself and people that I care about and want to protect. But also because I think that the power in art, and maybe even music more than most art forms, is that you can interpret things the way that you need to. So that any time anyone's ever said, is this song about this? Because my life has been like this. And I say, yes, that's it. I learned that from a documentary I saw with Chuck Buckley. And they asked him, what do you want people to take from your music? And he thought about it for a while and then said, whatever they want. And I agree. So, loosely, Breathe was inspired by the fact that, again, I was 17 or maybe 18. And, I've always been very introspective. I'm a reader, and I've been writing since I was, since I could hold a pen. And so I was very conscious, as I am usually, of what's actually going on in my environment and what's going on with me and how I'm relating to the grand cycle of things. And at that time, I realized that at my age and the age of my friends, we were at that pivotal point when you're in your, mid to late teens and even into early 20s, when you accept the responsibility of an adult, but you're still a kid. You don't really know how to handle everything. You're still a little bit used to somebody being able to clean up after you. But that's not really appropriate, and that isn't even always, you're not even always able to do that anymore. So as my friends were experiencing things that I'm sure you can derive from the song, I was so sympathetic to what was happening and so scared right with them. I was there for those things that they were experiencing, and for myself, once again, I realized that it wouldn't be long before I was facing something that now I sing about every single night, and it just gets truer all the time, which is that my words are my diary, and people are going to use that however they want. It's extremely vulnerable. And for me, being actually more introverted than not, even though I think I can put on a hell of a show sometimes, that was really scary, really scary. I wrote Breathe in a whisper with my door closed, hoping that no one would hear me, hoping my parents wouldn't hear the lyrics, because I didn't want them to know the things I was thinking about and feeling, and obviously they've heard it now. A whole lot of people have. But I realized that there was no going backwards, that what had happened, happened. And we were going to have to face these situations. And that we, sometimes it's a gradual change becoming an adult, and sometimes it's instant. And it was for me, and it was for my friends that song is about. The thing people don't know is that the second verse, that's about two different people. One of them was a boy that was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. He went into the Army because he didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, and he wanted to find a purpose. And no one foresaw 9/11. He was a few years older than me, so he was gone. He went to Iraq, and I was so scared, and I loved him so much, and I would get phone calls in the middle of the night, and because everyone who knows me knows I don't sleep ever, because I just write all the time. So I'm always awake. I am the person that gets that call. I've picked up so many drunk people. And there's a little bit of creative license taken in that story because it's a combination of people, so it isn't just one. But there really was a boy stationed at Fort Bliss, and And he really did call me at 2 o'clock in the morning feeling troubled. And at the same time, I had this other girlfriend who was dealing with stuff, and I think it all happened within a few days that I was coming to the rescue of people, and meanwhile thinking, oh my God, my life's about to change. What am I going to do? And there's a line that says, there's a light at each end of this tunnel. You shout because you're just as far in as you'll ever be out. And there really is a tunnel in San Francisco that I think separates San Francisco from like Sausalito or something, I don't know, but there's a rainbow on it. I like that about it. But when you're inside, you can see out one way, you can see backwards, so you know where you came from and you know where you're going. And it's like, life is like that too. You have a vision for where you're going, and you can see behind you just as clearly, but you can't go backwards. And I can't go backwards, and there's no way I'll ever be able to undo anything that's happened in my life, or when I'm scared, or when I think I can't do something. There's only forward. That's all you've got. And it is like that hourglass, like, you know, an hourglass is a funny thing because it's a lie. Unless it's glued to something, I suppose. That's actually a metaphor that continues to come up in my writing now, is time. And how uncontrollable that is, and how beautiful it is that I don't know what's going to happen next. I didn't know when I woke up this morning that I wasn't actually going to be singing and talking instead. But that's kind of a beautiful thing, because you all show up not knowing what you're in for. But maybe you leave with something better than you expected. Or maybe something tragic happens, but maybe that turns into the thing that changes your life in the best way possible. I think that there's something that's so magical to me, and so that keeps coming up in my music now more than ever, actually. And in the last month, I've done like some. I mean, I'm on my own now. I'm super indie.
I think you should write a song about tonight.
Oh gosh. It'd be called schwitzing. I'm trying to think if there's even anything I could sing.
Can I say something to you?
Sure.
When I heard Reed on the radio, it's the only time I've ever picked up a phone and called a radio station. I said, who is that? Tell me who that is.
Oh, awesome, babe.
And I stalked you until I could find your album. And I bought it. I listened to it 100 times on repeat.
Oh, thank you.
Before I up, sit around. That's exactly how I feel. I'm so emotional. She just says it the right way. Oh, the light turned in her rear view. See, she knows me.
Thank you. Oh, God. I remember the first time I heard Breathe on the radio. I was, well, besides hearing it at radio stations because I was there, the first time I heard it was so special because I was home, and I was a lot more superstitious when I was younger than I am now. But I used to wake up in the night and there was this little alarm clock radio in my bathroom. So if I woke up in the middle of the night to, I would turn my alarm clock radio on. And there were certain songs that were lucky to me. I don't remember why, but there was just certain ones that were lucky. Ironically, some of them ended up being songs by people that I ended up touring with, which is just so weird. I might be a little bit psychic. Things like this happen to me a lot. But one night I woke up and headed into the little girl's room, and I flipped on my alarm clock radio, and it was Breathe. And it was so exciting because it was playing on this radio station in LA called Star, and the DJ, Lisa Fox, I loved her, and she happened, I don't know why she was doing it in the middle of the night because that wasn't usually her hours, but she announced me and the song played. I was so excited, and I was 20, and I was living with my parents still, and I ran down the hall to my parents' room and I threw the door open. I was like, listen to this. This songs on the radio. So it was like that moment in, oh gosh, As Good as It Gets. No, what's the Oneaters? Which one? That Thing You Do?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, That Thing You Do. It was like that. I was so excited. It was very fun.